Well, hello, Legionnaires, and today we are doing the second battle of the Crusade campaign. With me today is Sebastian, as you may notice, the first one without Lander.
Hello. Yes, that is true.
And that means I have the power to abuse. You may notice there are slight changes that are going to be in this video. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty much the same as usual. So here you can see is the battlefield. And this game mode, we're going to be trying to get objectives. There are 4 objectives. One going to be in each territory, and then 2 in the center. And we're going to be scoring 10 victory points for each one we essentially we possess. And we've also taken our agendas. So as you can see here on the screen, I have gone with priority targets. So I want to basically destroy as many vehicles. Each one will give me 2 experience points. So for Admech, we've got loads of vehicles, so I'm hoping I should get quite a few there. But for you want to try and keep one of yours alive. You've gone with Survivor.
Yep.
And which model have you chosen to put that on?
I've chosen to put that on my Oranger Dune Crawler.
Yeah, the big boy. And we know how good Admech are with their heavy support. So this is going to be interesting. So we're going to start setting it up, and we'll be back once that is done. Okay, so we've placed the objective markers. As you can see, the 2 in the center are quite up north, and each of us have placed our own objective marker in our territories right behind a scrap pile. So there's going to be this massive battle up one half of the pitch. And I will go through the guys I've set up here. So in the north east, you can see I have 2 Death Dreads, which are hiding behind a tank to give them a bit of obscuring. I've put down my Grots, which are shielding my wild Loopy Git weirdboy on the objective. Behind that is just a Death Copter behind that squad. And then down south, we have Damien Killer, the Mega Track Scrapjet. So, Sebastian, let's go through your army. What have you set up?
So I have my Cataphrone destroyers set up north, ready to fire upon any of the greenskins that dare move within their range, which is quite substantial. Then behind the middle scrap pile, I have my hoplites ready to advance and form a screening wall. Behind them, I have my heavy support Dune Crawler ready to rain havoc and hell upon the battlefield. Then down south, then at the south of the map, I have my Sidonian Dragoon ready to strike at any git who thinks he can get close. And then finally, I have my Dominus Vesurix holding the objective point in the north, just in range to provide healing support for the Cataphrone destroyers and close enough to the Oranger if it is needed.
Excellent. Okay, so we rolled off, and I managed to win the roll-off, and I decided that I would like Sebastian to go first and try and use the terrain to my advantage. Please go through your movement phase.
So what I first of all did is I decided to move my hoplites out around the scrap so that I can get them start moving towards the center. Then I moved my Cataphrone destroyers a bit more up north so they could get a viable shots off at the death cans. Death threads.
Yep.
I then moved my Sidonian Dragoon under cover of this obscuring stone to get him closer towards the enemy, and I made a slight modification to where my Dune Crawler would be, so I could also get shots off at north and south.
Yep. And you also made a roll for your canticle as well.
I did indeed. I first used so my first roll was the incantation of the Iron Soul, but due to the Warlord trait that my Dominus has, which is Chorister Technus, which means I can re-roll the Canticle, but I do have to take and rolled Canticle. And with a bit of luck, I managed to get the Benediction of the Omnissiah, which allows me to re-roll field hits of 1. Hit rolls of 1 for effective units in the shooting phase.
Something tells me this is going to be a nasty shooting phase. Well, there is no psychic phase because you have no psychers, so we'll go straight into the shooting. So that was the AdMech's shooting phase 1. So Sebastian, what happened?
I opened fire with my Cataphren destroyers. Two of which had a clear line of sight on the Death Tread of the north.
Yep. You had the
So they fired
-1
off.
to hit because of
Yeah,
the custom jobs.
indeed, -1 to hit. But they did some considerable, some damage to it. Not too much, but enough. They knocked him down from 8 hit points to 5. Then I had my Oranger open fire on your Damien Killer. And that did some serious damage.
Yeah, some pretty good rolls on the damage to do 5 there on him.
Yeah, so took a couple of hits there, going from 9 to 4 hit points.
Yep. So that marks the end
Which
of.
I think, if it puts against my Dragoon, would put a bit more even fight.
We'll see. We will see.
We will indeed see.
Better say there's no psychic phase. We've done the shooting, so now it is charging. I'm sure you got nothing to declare, so that goes
Yeah,
past
no
the
charges.
fight. There's no morale because no one's been lost. So this now goes over to Orc turn 1, and we'll be back after the movement phase. So that is the Orcs movement phase. I've moved my Death Dreads up the north. So they're close enough to get their rocket launchers and heading towards that objective. My Deathcopter has come around, so he's also in range of shooting the destroyers or the Dooncrawler. We have the Gretchen, who slightly moved around the scrap pile with the weirdboy, so we're in range of some smiting. And I've just got my Megatrack Scrapjack down in the south, just going around and trying to zoom up the field. No one has advanced, but I have activated the billowing exhaust clouds, which means that is -1 to hit my Megatrack until the start of my next movement phase. So now we are going to be moving on to the psychic phase. Okay, so that was the Orcs psychic phase. I got my wild Loopy Git, and he channeled a smite and was he got it off, but it was only able to knock out 1 hoplite. But it's better than nothing. So now we move on to the Orcs shooting phase. Okay, so we've just done our shooting, and oh my, the Death Dreads shot all their rocket launchers, have 2 apiece, 4 shots, and they managed to get 4 through onto those destroyers, and they're all wounding through. And unfortunately, Sebastian couldn't make enough of those 6-up saves to save the squad, so the entire destroyers have been removed. I then decided to use the Deathcopters. Instead of firing on the Dooncrawler, which I thought it would just heal anyway, I decided I would focus them down on the Dragoon in the south. Even, again, really good rolls. Seeing lots of 5s, but I needed 6s because of the -1 to hit the Dragoon. So I only managed to get one wounding. However, he managed to save it and stop it. And then in the south, I have my Megatrack, which fired all his wing missiles, his rockets, his shooters, all into the Dragoon, and we've managed to whittle it down 4 wounds, so with only 2 remaining. and that is the Orks shooting phase. We go to the charging phase. However, none of my guys are close enough to be able to charge this turn, so we're there's no morale to declare because only one hoplite has been lost. So we then will go over to the Admech's second turn. So going into Admech turn 2, they have gained 10 victory points for holding the objective in the top left-hand corner, and they've regained 1 command point, so they're on to 4. And you've just gone through your movement phase, so please explain what you have done.
So what I've done is mainly I've kept my Dominus and Orange pretty much on their positions, as you know, as my Dominus is holding the objective, and the Doomcrawler has this perfect line of sight on both the Death Threads, the Copter, and actually some of the Gits on the Shaman and everything. Then I've decided to move my hoplites into some cover, getting them slowly but surely. So next turn they should be able to get to the command point, hopefully hold it. Then I moved my Sidonian Dragon up to quite close to the car, or how do you
Damien
call it?
Killer, we called it.
Damien Killer. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It will be. Okay, going into the Admech shooting phase. So there is the Admech shooting phase. It was very uneventful. Sebastian, what happened?
Not much, considering most of my units were somewhat out of range from yours. So the only ones that could actually do something were my Doomcrawler, who I decided to use to attack the Death Thread, hoping to do some, massive damage. Sadly, it only one shot got through. That did 2 damage to the Death Thread. Then my Dragoon, I had sent earlier in the movement phase closer, with the hope of using his Phosphorus Serpenta. Sadly, that did not hit.
So that is the end of the shooting phase, and I believe you do have a charge to declare, don't you?
I do, yes.
So that Dragoon is going to go for Damien Killer. So we've just gone into the charging phase, and you can see a command point has been spent by the Orks because we went and used Overwatch, and unfortunately for Sebastian, the wing missiles got the 6, which ultimately ended the Dragoon. So not looking great for the Admech. However, they still have the hoplites. There is still hope. So with that, there is no morale. So we'll go around to the Orks' second turn. And they too will be getting 10 victory points for holding 1 objective. So that is the Orc second turn movement phase. And as you can see, I've moved the Death Dreads in the north up towards the objective. I've actually zoomed the Death Copter across the field towards the Hoplite. And I've also got the Megatrack Scrapjet Death Damien Killer. He's getting nice and close to the Hoplites as well. And we now move on to our Psychic phase for the Orcs. So, wild Loopy Git once more, channeling his power, and pulls off a mighty, not a mighty one, it's just a plain smite, but is able to knock out 3 hoplites. So now, we now go on to the Orcs shooting phase. So there is Orcs shooting phase, and some really, really good rolls through Daka, which has ended up we've managed to destroy the Doomcrawler using the Death Dread, the 2 weapons on the Damien Killer, and finishing it off with the Death Copter. And then we had the big shooter and the Slugger being able to fire into the hoplites, as well as actually 2 Gretchen. And we've managed to somehow reduce them to only 2 of them remaining. It's very hard to see the Admech come back from that. So with this, we will go into the Orks charging phase, where I will want to try and finish off those hoplites in this center. And with that, our Deathcopter made the charge. You did try to overwatch with the 2 guys, because why not? Unfortunately, they got nothing. And
Nope.
the Deathcopter, just so many attacks of the hoplites and absolutely
None saved. Yeah, none
appalling
got through.
saves. 3+ saves we were looking at because of the cover. And still, I mean, 6 hoplites have died with a 3+ save. None of them made. That is
Yeah.
what Seb's going through. Just to
Let's just say the RNG gods are not with.
yeah, definitely not. For some reason, Admech have been abandoned by their
Our
lords.
Omnissiah. We
Their
didn't praise the machine spirits enough today.
Yes,
We will not grant
apparently
us
so.
victory.
But Morka and Gorka are definitely going to be happy. And with that, the Orks have ended the turn, second turn, and we now move on to Sebastian's third turn. And with that, the Admech have done all of their turn. So would you like to just quickly, or just go through everything you've just done there?
Yeah. So, my Dominus, heartbroken and enraged by the destruction that he's seen upon his precious machines, has gone into a blind rage and has forgone all forms of safety, deciding to go out in a blaze of glory instead of hiding in a defensive position. So he rushed forward until he got a clear sight on the Deathcopter that destroyed his entire hoplite unit. Did some serious damage with his Phosphor Phoenix and Full Kite Blaster, leaving the Deathcopter on only 1 HP. And then he charged in and struck it down with his Omniscient Axe.
Managed to get his revenge.
And got at least some revenge. Some damage was dealt to the Orks. They haven't got away unscathed.
In one last hurrah in this.
Probably, yes. I don't think my Dominus will survive much longer, but he at least took his revenge.
He can
at the
fall
very least.
Like a proud person, I think.
At least he struck one blow towards the enemies of the Emperor, and the Omnissiah. That is all one can ask for.
That is true. That's so true. And I tried to overwatch, but failed. I thought, why not? So with that, we'll now go into the Orks turn 3, and
probably the conclusion of our match.
Yeah, I'm now, because I have 2 objective markers now, and I will green a command point. So we'll be back with the Ork turn. So there is Orks turn 3. We're on 30 victory points to the Admech's 20, and as you can see from the game, we have managed to finish off Tech-Priest Dominus. The weird boy decided to use his psychic abilities to cause another smite off, doing 2 mortal wounds, and then Damien decided to shoot, and his rockets were only needed to finish off Dominus. And with that, the Admech have been tabled. The Orks have managed to make their agenda, and the Admech, a unfortunate battle for them.
They've all fallen.
Yeah.
Sadly.
But of course, this is not just what you've lost the battle, but you haven't lost the war.
We'll come back. We'll have to do some calibrations and running a couple more simulations. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, there's nothing they could have done there. It was just
some of the numbers were off.
I think that when they're rerunning things, they'll just find out that there was just some really unlucky events had occurred. It's just something that was out of their control, really.
Somebody forgot to use the right sacred unguents on the on the machine spirits.
Yes.
We'll find out who that was, and they'll be severely punished.
There will
They'll
be
be
some
they'll
sacrifices
be put
made.
on they'll be put on Catafron duty.
But that is that. It's Orcs victory, and that's the second battle of the campaign. And next time we will be seeing Landers Necrons go up against your Admech, and I will be with my Orcs up against the Imperial Guard tanks.
I
So
do believe those will be larger battles, though.
yeah, so we'll be expecting more guys coming onto the table and more bloodshed. So until next time, Legionnaires, have a good one.